I think it's time we talk about a really important thing that is going to affect a lot of us and is affecting a lot of us who are into the gaming space, which is the Stop Killing Games initiative. I know a lot of people have been asking me to talk about it for a while. In the beginning, I was like, this is a cool initiative. Sign the petition and everything, let it do its thing. Apparently, it's not going as well as people wanted to and as it should be doing. They're about 700k signatures into the million that they need as of recording this video. And I did make a post about it on the community tab to try and like push it in a different direction on my main channel. The reason I'm doing a video of it here on the Spadicy channel is I don't know what's going on. There's something happening with the algorithm in terms of my channel right now. I've seen it happen to some other channels of similar size to mine, where after I did Schedule 1, for some reason, I hate to say like, oh, the algorithm's against me and they flipped a switch and all this kind of stuff. But sometimes it really just does feel like that something happened under the hood. It's happened in the past multiple times. I've talked to some other YouTubers about it. Everyone just seems to be like, hey, my views just disappeared. Like my main audience aren't getting any of my videos anymore. What's happening? I don't know. It's hard to talk about without it seeming like, oh, bro, you fell off. You're washed. Whatever. So I just tend to kind of like stay away from it, see what happens, see what shakes loose, and then get back to uploading again. Something's going on. I don't know what's happening. So to not upload this in a place where the algorithm is in flux for a channel of that size, and again, not knowing if this is actually going to go out to any of the people who are there. Death Stranding went up. Clearly, it's not being served to the people who would normally watch it, as seen as the previous series on it, on Death Stranding 1, did so well. I don't know. That's a different discussion to have. But I wanted this to try and reach more people, which honestly, weirdly, I think on a second channel, it's going to reach more people right now than it will the main channel. Again, I don't know what's going on, but I'm trying to do as well by this as I can. I'm also going to try and keep this succinct and say the things that I know about it and try and not spread misinformation about it, because a lot of people have talked about it and talked about it really well. They've given over some really great information. Ross, Accursed Farms, who has designed the initiative, has a very good video talking about it, which I would leave in the description for you to be able to go and get like the weeds of the information about it. Because again, I'm going to butcher it, and someone like Pirate Software has gone out and done a horrible video on it, misrepresenting what it is, giving a ton of misinformation and actually kind of killing the initiative from the get-go, and then just being very egotistical about it, not saying sorry and really opening up to it and being like, shit, my bad, and then fixing any of the things that he said were wrong about it. It's a fucking mess. So I want to put my voice to it and my name to it and whatever audience we can get behind it to try and sign this petition, which I will also leave in the description. There's a petition for you to be able to sign it in the EU, and there's a petition for you to be able to sign it in the UK because Brexit and fucking a whole mess of stuff involving that as well, to make it even more difficult to do anything like this in this world. It's happening in the EU right now because Ross himself said that, I mean, again, I don't want to say stuff that's wrong. I'm so sorry if I say anything that is... I'm doing this with the best of intentions. There is a lot of nuance in this, and I'm trying to get the cliff notes right. Again, like somebody else didn't. But basically, stuff in the US is harder to do, and there is a chance to be able to put stuff into law in the EU to be able, at least get it in people's faces. That's the purpose of it now. Hopefully it would go into law to try and like protect games and protect game preservation and all that stuff, and just for the consumers to keep things good for everybody. And the EU has been pretty good at doing certain things in the past, like putting, I think it was the EU that put USB-C chargers in like iPhones and stuff, right? Instead of Apple being able to just sell their proprietary stuff all the time. And as he pointed out, people in Australia went after Valve and took them to court to be like, we need some sort of refund policy because it's bullshit that you don't have it. It goes against law for consumers. And then that went through, and then everybody who uses Valve and Steam ended up being able to get a refund through that platform. And I think that's really cool. And there is an initiative to try and do that with games, which At its core, it's basically to preserve games that, let's say you have a game that there's tons of games out there, for example, that are being supported by developers and they're getting patches, or they're live service games and they're getting a whole bunch of other stuff. And it, again, there's a lot more nuance to it. And I urge you to go watch Ross's video on it and to try and learn more about it. But at the end of it, it's basically to be like, when a developer wants to stop supporting the game, which inevitably it will, you don't really expect a game to be supported absolutely forever till the end of time because they're working on new stuff. You can't really support something for like however many people are going to be playing something years in the future, whatever. And it's unreasonable to expect a developer to support a game forever. I don't think anyone would expect that. It's just, I don't know, in a perfect world, sure, but it's not going to happen. Money talks. But if a developer wants to stop supporting a game, if they want to kind of, sunset the game, that's the term I'm looking for, then to put stuff in place where you can hand it over to the consumers where they can start supporting it themselves and put stuff out and we can still enjoy the game and whatever community for the game is still there, or any game you want to play. People keep using The Crew as a thing because Ubisoft are like, yeah, we're shutting it down. And then the thing you bought is no longer yours. And that's pretty fucked up. Like in a lot of other practices, like it's maybe this is a bad analogy, but you like buy a Blu-ray movie, you have the movie, you can watch the movie. But for games, none of that legislation is really in place yet. And Ross himself has put up some other stuff showing like Blizzard have it in their terms to be like, we can stop supporting this game at any time. And then you're basically just buying a license for a game. You don't own it. So like, remember back in the day, maybe back in my day, when I bought like a PS2 game or a PS1 game and like I have that game and now it's mine and I can play it forever. And patches weren't really a thing back then, but like you have the thing and you can play it. But there are certain games that come out and certain developers don't want to support them anymore. And then the game's gone and you can't play it and that's fucked. So if they don't want to support it, then hand it over to consumers. The consumers will keep it alive. There's been stuff in PC gaming for so long with like, player-run servers for things and everything. Again, there's a whole lot more to this, and I'm just trying to be succinct about it to try and get it in people's heads what it actually is. And this initiative is to put it in front of EU legislation to show them, hey, this is fucked. This shouldn't be like this. Can we change it? And then hopefully it'll trickle down everywhere else if this happens because it's put into law in the EU. Again, a lot more to it, and I'm really... I'm probably butchering what this is, but I really believe in what they're trying to do. And I think Ross himself has really good intentions behind it. And from my perspective, there is no downside to signing this. If you sign it, it hits 1 million signatures and then it goes in. And I mean, if it doesn't go through, at least we tried. At least Ross tried. He's put so much of his life and his time and his energy behind it. And I think it's really commendable. And I think there's so many people in the industry that have made, like other developers who have made games and then the higher ups close it down and it's not available to anybody anymore. And they themselves would love to put it in consumers' hands to be like, now you guys take it and do it because we're not getting funding to be able to support this game anymore. And there's so many people, there's a massive initiative behind it on Reddit. People really coming together. There's sort of like this, I don't want to say cult following because it sounds a bit more negative, but there is this real sort of like rallying behind it from gamers right now that they're like, yeah, the things we buy, we should own. And everything that goes with that. Like I said, there's a whole lot more to it that I urge you to look into it. But if you just want to watch this video and sign the petition, then go for it. Again, I don't really see a downside to it. You sign it and then it goes through or it doesn't. Like, what's the downside to that? I think that's where something like the Pirate Software video, just so desperate to be right and be a contrarian about something, to go with a meme, I see this as an absolute win. At least gamers will make their voices heard, as cringe as that might sound to people who are not really in the space. But I love video games. I'm so involved in them. I'm so engaged with, like, I went to a thing for Death Stranding last night and I just spent a lot of time talking to people who make games, either on the voice acting side, on the casting side, in the audio side. There were some people who were just a coder on games. And these people just love making games so much that they want to be involved in them and just give it to people and just make games good. Like, at the end of the day, that's really all it is. And I think initiatives like that are a really good way of kind of like rallying the community behind each other, getting involved, and just speaking out on it. And that's why I wanted to make this video. And again, I know a lot of people will say, I wish he put this up on his main channel. But again, I mean, just go back through the channel right now. I don't know what the fuck is going on with it. And I worry that there's also a thing with YouTube's algorithms right now where if you're just uploading gaming content, sometimes if you upload something that's not gaming, it will get suppressed and buried and not really go to the people who it should go to. And that's one of the things MatPat was talking about when he retired, that we had him on Brain Leak where he's talking about these silos of content where it's like, if you're a gaming channel, kind of have to stick with that. That's why so many people who do like Fortnite, and they've done it so much that now it's like, well, that's kind of all you can do on your channel. Because if you do something else, it takes so much Herculean effort to get over that algorithm to start pushing your content to other people who are not into that. It's not going to push it to people who are not into that thing. And this is gaming related, but again, I'm trying to put it in front of the eyes of the second channel. Has no stakes in it. I'm not going to have monetization or anything like that turned on in this video. So it's just a case of like getting it out, getting it in front of as many eyeballs as I can, and getting it. Maybe there's people who aren't subscribed to Jacksepticeye who are on this channel and putting it out in front of your eyes. Again, I'm just trying to do my best by what this is. So hopefully we can get some more signatures. I did say in my post that it was close to completion. Maybe that's the wrong words to use. I was trying to motivate people to kind of like push it over the finish line, and that usually works, especially when I've done charity stuff before, that when stuff is close to the line, that one final push to get it over the line works really well. But man, anything that you can do, it's at 723K right now and it's 72% done. So if I can lend my voice to this and get it over the finish line to get to 1 million, the UK one is a little harder, but whatever we can do, man. To read off their own terminology, it says, Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to consumers. An increasing number of video games are sold effectively as goods with no stated expiration date, but designed to be completely unplayable as soon as the support from that publisher ends. So this is designed to kind of like put it in our hands to be able to do what we want with it and be like, thank you, developers. And there are websites like a GOG that are trying their best to try and like preserve really old games and things like that. So all of this stuff just really helps bring awareness to that, because right now gaming is in a really weird state when it comes to the legality of what you're allowed to do with them. And this would hopefully help change that. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. Please sign the petition. It doesn't take that long and it doesn't harm you in any way. All it does is lend your voice to a thing that I think is really good. Shout out to Ross from Accursed Farms, who really put his all behind this, has put so much of his time and his life and his effort behind it. I think it's a really cool initiative to do. He said if this fails, that he's done. And I think that that's really sad because he's tried so hard. And I mean, fair play. I'm not judging him at all. He's put so much effort into this already that he should be allowed rest. But I hope that we can help push it over the finish line anyway. But thank you so much for watching. Go out there. I urge you to like do your own research and spread the message and spread awareness. And sorry that it took me this long to get to it. I think it's over at the end of July, I think was the finishing date for when this needs to be done. So that's your deadline. Go help out, try your best. Thank you for watching.